So I will give you some examples from around the world to inform some of the discussions here around community energy and how communities really play a central role in greater energy resilience. So developing countries face multiple stresses, including here in Mozambique, climate change, natural hazards, conflicts, and of course the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, it causes disruption to critical infrastructure. So really, when we're talking about progress on energy access, we must think about resilience as well. And for those affected by humanitarian crises, the situation is even more difficult with extremely low levels of energy access. So sustainable energy and community energy can really help to enhance safety, health, productivity, and security in these kinds of circumstances, and also bridge the divide between development and humanitarian responses by creating opportunities for education, enterprise, and innovation. So I've put up here a definition of resilience, which I really like. It's from the International Red Cross, and it's the ability of individuals, communities, organizations, or countries exposed to disasters, crises, and underlying vulnerabilities to anticipate, prepare for, reduce the impact of, cope with, and recover from the effects of shocks and stresses without compromising their long-term prospects. I like this definition because it includes multiple actors and it acknowledges the long-term development needs of communities. And it gives us the sense that resilience isn't about maintaining what already exists, but it's about the opportunity to bounce back better as well. So here is a photo in Inner Mongolia, and it shows the community, the farmers being really quite active in the construction of their own wind turbine. They're also doing the wiring within the households, and the local technician really has a very high level of technical expertise in terms of repairs to the inverters. So this is really critical in creating energy resilience, this capacity that Getachew was talking about, the education that's required to underpin energy resilience. The next example is from Nepal after the earthquake in 2015. This is one of the historic areas of Kathmandu that was absolutely devastated. So there we found that full restoration of energy services was quite slow. But where we were able to make progress, we saw it was because households and communities were very proactive in using informal networks, such as religious organizations or caste-based organizations, to make repairs to their energy services, or indeed to distribute them. This exacerbated inequalities, I think, between communities, because those with good networks before the disaster were able to access energy just that little bit more quickly. So next slide. So we can see a really complex picture emerging of governance, social, technical, and economic factors for energy resilience. In Nepal in particular, governance and political leadership was really identified as a key element. So in Malawi, we found that livelihoods and food security was most important, being threatened by cycles of drought and floods. But there were really great opportunities in the governance sphere with political decentralization that gives more resources and a say to communities and local government in the planning of energy services in rural areas. So I think, again, building capacity at that local level for sensible decisions to be made is really important. So again, back to what Getachew was speaking about. So how can we begin to integrate this idea that communities are really active in energy resilience into responses at the policy level. So, working with the Pacific Islands, who I was actually on a call with this morning, resilience and energy security is the top of their policy agenda on energy. They just launched at COP27 a framework for energy security and resilience, which is their regional plan for energy, full stop, until 2030. So this is one of the first policies that I have seen to really address energy security and resilience as the main issue for the future. So looking at the research innovation needed to support their ambition, I found that there was really a need for greater recognition of inclusion of community responses to energy challenges, but alongside energy planning, innovation and finance, and promoting decentralized approaches like off-grid energy here in Mozambique to energy in terms of governance and also technologies as well. International organizations also have a very clear role to play in terms of resilience. Through the Modern Energy Cooking Services Program, I've been working with the World Food Program, who are developing programming to strengthen resilience for food security and nutrition, which are their core targets. Climate change will have a really deep impact on agriculture and food security, with 80% of the world's food insecure living in countries prone to natural shocks and where land and ecosystems are the most degraded. Modern energy for cooking in households and institutions can help enhance community resilience in many ways. For example, by reducing the use of fuel wood, we could reduce deforestation, maintain ecosystem services, improve agricultural output in the region, and therefore improve food security and nutrition. So the Steer Center is working with the World Food Program on a number of projects to map this kind of pathway from community through modern energy cooking services, for example, through to food security, and then finally to resilience. Yeah? So trying to trace a number of pathways in which this is happening. And I believe the CESET project is really critical in that mapping exercise here in Mozambique, in Ethiopia, and in Malawi. So, in summary, progress on energy access and climate action and economic development cannot be maintained without addressing resilience. Communities have a very central role to play. I've given 3 examples of resilience in China, Nepal, and Malawi. And we can really support community energy resilience through co-designing both the agendas, which we are doing today, as well as the solutions as well. So thank you.